What up, y'all? Chubber Dog here, going to the Second Amendment rally at the Kansas State Capitol, which is in Topeka, Kansas, and I got a 2.5 hour drive, so I'll catch up with you guys when I get there. Later. Love it or hate it, McDonald's thrives in a free country, so I'm gonna get some breakfast. Still a little ways to go.
Thank you all for being here today. I appreciate it. And it's very encouraging to see everybody here today on a really cold day.
Let me know and I'll turn it around for you so you can see the other side.
All right, turn it around.
So the officer's pretty shocked right now. He said, "Gosh, lady, what are you afraid of?" I'm told that the legislature meets in the winter so that we don't have big crowds like this too often. It doesn't seem to crowds pretty frequently. And okay, we kind of do. It's through the Kansas National Guard. So I'm pretty safe 1 week in front of you. Tell me who made this quote.
Flip it.
Firearms stand next in importance to the Constitution itself.
I'm glad to see all of you potential terrorists out there today.
Thank you. And thank you for being here on a cool morning, but it's getting a little warmer. And thank you for standing up for your Second Amendment rights. As many of you know, before I became Secretary of State, I served as a law professor at UMKC. I'm also a gun enthusiast myself, and hunting season just ended, so I'll be switching from a scattergun to some more precise firearms as the months go ahead. Protection of ourselves collectively, the protection of the free people against an oppressive government. Now, I want to give you one quote from Scalia's opinion in D.C. versus Heller. He said, "Undoubtedly some think that the Second Amendment is outmoded in a society where our standing army is the pride of our nation, where well-trained police forces provide personal security, and where gun violence is a serious problem. That is perhaps debatable. But what is not debatable is that it is not the role of this court to pronounce the Second Amendment extinct." Well put. The Second Amendment is very clear. There's no ambiguity in the wording of the Second Amendment. But of course there was ambiguity in the thought of so many people who wanted to make the Second Amendment meaningless. But what was a surprise was the vote in D.C. versus Heller. You remember that? 5-4. That means that there are 4 justices on the Supreme Court who don't think that all of us enjoy an individual right to keep and bear arms. So that means there are 4 justices on the United States Supreme Court who don't think the Second Amendment is an individually held right, and they don't think it's a fundamental right. When you say your prayers at night, every once in a while say a prayer for the 5 justices of the Supreme Court who voted the right way to protect our Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. Because God forbid one of them should step in front of a bus someday and Obama would get the chance to appoint his successor. Our rights are hanging by a thread when it comes to the judiciary. And we have to recognize that, we have to understand that, and we have to do what it takes to keep our rights intact in our system of government. And that means, hopefully, someday seeing justices appointed in the future who will continue to keep with those 5 justices who believe in the Second Amendment and what it stands for. So we need to be willing to do a number of things. First of all, keep your congressman's feet to the fire. Write, email, fax, let them know where we stand, because they may not know that Kansas voted 88% in favor of the right to keep and bear arms. Remind them where the people of Kansas stand so that these bills do not get through Congress. Secondly, at the state level, we can do things to protect our right to keep and bear arms. And there are some really good bills that have been proposed, and in this building right behind me have already been debated. Yesterday, they were debating them in a subcommittee. And I encourage you to keep informed and learn what day the hearings are going to occur, so that if you're willing to stand outside in the cold today, you'd be willing to sit on a nice, warm, comfy chair and be part of the audience in a hearing. Because let me tell you, there are so many times when a committee in that building will be deliberating on a bill that I know 90% of Kansans are in favor of, but the silent majority isn't there, and nobody knew to come to the hearing. Meanwhile, the opposition, the liberal opposition in most cases, they bring in people by the busload and they pack the hearing room. And so they create the false impression that the people of Kansas want something that they do not want. So I would urge you to follow what's going on. Let me give you a specific bill number so you can remember this, because you want to at least be informed about this one. And I'm going to make sure I give you the right number. H.R. 2199. H.R. 2199. It's the Second Amendment Protection Act. Now, what you are doing is important. I thank you for being here, and I thank you for standing up for our Second Amendment rights.
Well, the rally's getting ready to close. I think at its peak, there's probably around 300 people there. I didn't really count, but that's what I estimated. There's a few people left, but I got a long drive home, got some other business to take care of, so I don't know that it's going to last much longer. But anyway, talk to you guys later. Well, I'm on my way back home from the state capital in Kansas. That's Topeka. Topeka, Kansas is where our capital's at. It was going under, it's under some renovations, so unfortunately, you couldn't really see the bell copper top too well, but it's a beautiful Capitol building. I've been there many times before, but I just want to say thank you to all of my fellow patriots that were able to make it, and the ones that weren't able to make it, continue to fight on. I know a lot of you guys had to work, so just keep up the fight. I'm happy to report that in Kansas we have a bill that we're trying to pass, HB 2199, that is a Second Amendment Protection Act. So I'll put some links down in the description for you to follow up on. We got to keep pressing and keep fighting for our Second Amendment. It's also very important that we're aware that our Second Amendment rights are resting on a thin line here with the Supreme Court at the federal level. All that has to happen is for us to lose one of our Second Amendment favoring judges at the federal level, and then we would lose the battle whenever any legislation was brought for them to make a ruling on. So we need to keep this fight and try to get protections at the state level. If we don't have protections at the state level, if we ever did have an imbalance in the Supreme Court at the federal level, that's when everything could start going downhill. So you definitely have to get on board with your state legislators and make sure that they can pass laws that'll protect your individual states, and just in case something did happen at the federal level. So this is Shepherd Dog out. Talk to you guys later. So these are the Foothills in Kansas. For those of you that aren't aware, let me try to stay on the road here. But there's a lot of beautiful parts of Kansas. A lot of agriculture here. A lot of wheat. That's what we grow here. But up in the northeastern part of the state, we've got what they call the Foothills, and that's what you're looking at. So it's pretty beautiful. Oh, one more thing. This weekend, the 9th and the 10th of February in Kansas at Cabela's, Wichita, and Kansas City, if you go in and sign up or renew your NRA membership for $35 or more, you get a free $25 gift card. All right, Shepherd Dog out.